Okay, shall we start?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, hello. Thank you guys for you talkers in the back. Thanks so much for coming today. We are here for database R&R, and the R and the R stand for repeat business and referrals, because like otherwise, who really cares about a database if it doesn't make you money, right? So these are the goals that I thought we would have. To get more repeat business and referrals from people we already know, which would be your past clients. Although, why do we call them past clients? Aren't they just clients? Like, isn't that interesting? Nobody else says past clients. So to get more referrals from people we already know, work less and make more money. Would anybody like to work less? Is everybody happy being balls to the wall 24/7? Yeah, it kind of sucks. I also want to make real estate easy and fun. I don't know about you, but cold calling people, not my jam. I was a telemarketer when I was 16 years old. I was very good at it. I'm burnt out. Smile and dial is not for me. And I also want to spend less money on cold ads. So your cold ads would be like Zillow, Realtor.com, Facebook ads, where you're attracting people you don't already know, so they're cold to you. You know, I'm all for advertising, but if we can get deals from people we already know, our warm audience, then of course your profit margin is going to be bigger because you didn't have to spend as much money to get those. So what you can expect today is to have an easy to follow process of staying top of mind with your past clients, your sphere of influence, and people you know. But what is not included, and I did allude to this in my Facebook post. Wow, that font is really small. I hope you guys can see that. Get your magnifying glass out. We are not going to ask for referrals. At no point do I say, Paul, is there anybody that you know that needs my help? Mm-mm. Now, all of these things that I say we're not going to do work perfectly fine. So no disrespect for people who want to do pop buys, but not my jam. This is not how I do my business. I do videos. I do YouTube videos. Once in a while, you might find me on like a Facebook Live, but even that's been a long time ago. But I'm not going to tell you that you should do videos or like bomb videos, or if anybody follows Tom Ferry, you know, he loves to, my phone is over there. I was gonna say, he loves to say, oh, you know, hi, Tom, this is Heather with Banana Realty and blah, 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 and send them a text of a video. Not today. No sales email signatures or voicemail messages saying, I'm never too busy for your referrals. Well, isn't that funny? Because you're too busy to take my call, but you want my come on. So a little bit about me. A lot of you guys probably already know me. I've been in business since 2010. I've actually sold 828 houses. I looked that up yesterday. In my first full year, so like I started in June, but then the next year, I sold 36 houses. I'm very proud of that, which is why it's on the slide. Last year, my team, I have a small team, we sold 66 houses together. So I do not subscribe to working 24/7, balls to the wall all the time. We try not to do that. So yeah, I have a small team, created that in 2013. And then I also, with my husband, have like a sort of coaching membership that we call Savvy Agent Club. And we have a podcast. Well, I have podcasts. It's just me that's on the podcast. But it's free, and like you guys could totally go subscribe and get my counts up. And there's valuable information on there. So I think that everyone would benefit. Okay, so what do you want in your business? And this is the part where now we have group participation. So you, sir, tell us who you are and why you're here. What do you want from your real estate business?
Paul Walter. More listings would be nice right now.
Oh, yeah, no kidding, right?
Ashley Rebick. I guess I'm just trying to hit my goal.
Girl, we just had a deal. Yeah, look, you have no idea who
You're
each
a
other.
real person in real life now. This was the first year that I actually wrote goals down, so I'm really trying hard to reach those goals.
Okay. What are your goals?
To sell 50 houses this year, whether that's buy or sell side.
Okay, cool, cool.
Bailey Fisher, I just got my license literally weeks ago. So I'm just
Well,
waiting.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You're starting off with a solid foundation.
Yes.
Lynn Harder, I think mostly just trying to figure out my systems
Okay, cool.
as far as being here.
Okay. Why? What systems?
Well, just like, we have systems for like what we do after a sale goes pending, or how we work with doing like a pre-buyer.
Like to make more money
Yes,
or to
yeah,
have
yeah,
more time?
Yes.
I promise I'm going somewhere with
Okay.
this. Okay, but those things probably, all right.
Kathy Macy, I'm basically here because I need hours.
Yeah.
But it's always good to learn things, so.
Well, look at you. It's like May. You're really super early for your hours. Well done.
Well, not really usually I'm done by now. I'm just kind of good, getting goodly started.
Okay, excellent, excellent.
Becky Jackson. More business would be good.
All right.
Gina Allen, kind of same
Okay,
business. I still work full time, so I do real estate part time, but it's kind of shifting more full time for me.
super.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Ted.
Ted Weaver, made it for about 15 years, and after a while, it's probably, you kind of get into a rut.
Yeah.
I know all the building strategies, and I've done those. Looking for different
So you're
ideas.
down on the top buys.
I mean, I still do them on occasion, probably not as often as I should.
Okay,
But I generally follow the building strategy, but I'm sure there's other things out there. And
sure.
saw your great write-up about it, so I don't know.
Yeah, this is definitely not bikini training right here.
Shane Whalen. I just want out.
You want out? Hmm.
Now that I think
What do you
about it,
need to get out?
What am I doing here?
What do you need to get out? I know, but what do you need to get out of it?
No, I would really love to stop working.
Okay. Great.
Jessica Keister. Sounds like from what I read, I want to work harder, not
I love it. Yep, good.
Same thing, I just want to make my spear a little bigger, make my spear I have.
Okay, super.
Falcon, might be all of them.
Okay,
Fast. and fine, but-
okay.
Can't find people.
Well, we got that. Super. Next. Yeah. What do you, well, what's your name and what do you really want?
Okay.
What do you
So
really,
I'm-
really want?
I'm Cindy Ron.
Okay,
Honestly.
okay.
Should make it. My better than
Okay,
Those are not my jam. Otherwise, are not my jam either, so.
exactly. But pants are, right?
Pants are.
Welcome to the pants party. Wearing my fancy pants. Who's up next?
Sherry Sandler, and I also am having the English here, but I thought, when we had said the wrestling for our terrible follow-up, so a little bit helps.
Well, I hope you're not disappointed.
Your Facebook post was awesome. I forgot.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Shannon Cordell, I've been practicing for 7 years, and all of my business is referral, which is great. But I find myself like just doing what needs to be done, like when it needs to be done and not working in on my business as much as I should. So
Okay,
I'm a little more motivated.
okay, cool.
Bruce Slings. I honestly have never sent anything to my database ever.
Oh, fun times rolling right now.
So I actually just started creating my first like spreadsheet of my database.
Okay.
So.
Good. Oh, I think there is, for sure.
You know, that comment pains me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But not really. He knows. He knows.
He's self-aware. Yeah.
I feel like I have a pretty decent referral like business for never sending anything to anyone.
Yeah.
So I know that.
Get ready to blow it up.
Mariah, fun. I'm just looking for some new ideas.
Okay, cool. And the cheat seats in the back.
Curtis Christensen. I have to renew this year, so we need that. But yeah, just following up more with. So that's something I need to be better at.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like we have a theme, like everybody just kind of wants to be more wealthy. Now, your definition of wealth might be different than your neighbors, and we all did kind of have different definitions of what we want to get out of this business and why we want it. So like, you want the systems, but why? Because you don't want to work as much, because you want to make more money, you want to spend less on advertising. So to go into the training, I kind of have to give the backbone of it, which is going from a broke agent. Man, this font is so small. Either that or my eyesight is really terrible. I apologize. But a broke agent, you know, they don't really know what their next move is going to be. They kind of fly by the seat of their pants. They're never home. You know, they never see their spouse, never see their kids, like never see their dog if they don't have kids. They're overweight and in poor health. In the last year, I have really had to focus on my health because I stopped taking care of myself and I was only taking care of my clients, which is not a sign of a wealthy agent, just so you know. Some broke agents have no savings in the bank. They might have a lot of debt, but that's supposed to be a check mark. I was learning about bullet points yesterday in Google Slides. My husband came downstairs and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I just figured out how to change the color on these bullet points because I'm a PowerPoint user." And he's like, "Oh my God, you're so embarrassing." I know, but it took me 20 minutes to do it. So let's celebrate. So a wealthy agent has a full sales pipeline. They don't need to wonder where their next check is going to come from. Of course, they get to spend more time with their family. They have boundaries and they set office hours. They make health and self-care a priority. They don't generally live paycheck to paycheck, although I suppose you could. Like, that money may not be your definition of wealth. And, you know, the wealthy agent might take every summer off, spend it at the pool in their backyard. Is Sully on here or is he at the pool? Because I'm going to guess Sully's at the pool. Making extra spending money. Some people do not want to take over the world in real estate. They just want to be able to make enough money to take their family to vacation on Disney World. You know, whatever your definition of wealth is great. And so here's the framework on how to do that. So we want to go from broke to wealthy. And there's 3 parts to that, hence the triangle. So we have strategy, systems, and social. And each one of those tiers are going to help you get more systems and more organization to help you reach your wealthy goals. So, you know, when you don't have strategy, you don't have systems, you don't have social, I mean, it's kind of like not good. You have a scarcity mindset, you're aimless, directionless, no organization, inconsistent. Drew, you don't have a database that you really manage. So if I were to say, okay, I need to know when was the last time you sent equity updates out to all of your past clients, like would you have sort of an instant panic attack and think, oh my God, I got to get out of this conversation right now? Like, these are the feelings you have when you don't have those systems in place. And sorry to put you on the spot, but thank you very much.
Yeah.
And so social is not really social media. I wanted a word that began with an S because I like alliteration. So strategy, systems, relationships. What is the word that begins with an S? Social is the best I could come up with. So when you do not have relationships with people that you know, like where you're not staying top of mind, they don't remember you. Everybody we know knows 10 realtors. And so if you're easy to forget, how can you expect them to call you when it's time to sell? But then when we add in the strategy, systems, and social, well, now you have a purpose, determination, you're organized, methodical, you're visible, you're connected, and recognized. Sweet. So the first part is the strategy. I don't know what strategy means. It basically means, what's the plan? How are you going to execute and hit your goal? So I want to have 50 sales this year was somebody's goal. Well, did you have a strategy for that?
I just have the visual. Like I printed off like 50 houses, and every time I have a transaction, I highlight it, and then if it's pending, I just take a pencil because I've learned not to use pen just because it's pending.
Oh,
Just how to get the white out.
We should call it penciling.
No, I do not have a strategy.
Yeah, and so sometimes you look at your list of 50 houses and think, oh my God, why didn't I put 25 on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you have the strategy though, you know exactly what you have to do to get the next house, to get to the 50. It takes some time, and sometimes our strategy is totally wrong, but over time you'll develop that. So our goals with little cute green check marks: get more repeat business from past clients. We kind of talked about this, more from your sphere of influence. Get referrals from everyone you know, which is wonderful, isn't it? When you don't really even have to do anything and they just call you and say, oh, well, so-and-so told me to call you. I got a referral last week. Wasn't a really good one. She wanted a discount agent, and that's not me. But she said, Andrew Richmond told me to call you. What? I haven't talked to Andrew since he closed, because I don't ever talk to people. But I got a referral from Andrew because of these systems, the strategy and the systems. So our plan here is make sure everyone knows I'm their go-to agent, stay visible, communicate regularly, which is the key. But you don't have to call people. You just have to communicate with them. Yeah, you just have to be unforgettable. Efficient, boy, that is tiny. Cost effective, sustainable. If I can't do it quickly, it's not going to get done. If it costs me a lot of money, I'm probably going to very quickly judge it as poor advertising, when really it just takes a lot of time for a lot of things to work. And I'm super impatient. If it doesn't work right now and it costs me money, I'm not going to do it. And it needs to be sustainable. So it needs to be easy for me to do repetitively. And I need to be seen as a resource. And I recommend all of these things for all of you. Yeah, and I can't do anything overly salesy. If I have to beg for business, it's not happening. I have a girlfriend who, she's in BOLD training at Keller Williams. Anyone heard of BOLD? Yeah, it's like the telemarketing seminar every summer. They pay $700 to learn how to make cold calls. And so she calls everyone she knows and says, hi, this is so-and-so. This is a business call. She would probably really hate me if she knew I was saying this. This is a business call, but I'm just calling to see if you know of anyone that might need my help. Oh my God. Now it works for her. She can totally do it, and she has a banging business. I'm not going to do that. And I guarantee the people on my team, if I told them to do that, they would start lying to me, and then they would quit. So we need to get organized. We need to put our past clients in a list. So Drew is on the right path. We need to put our sphere of influence on a list. The referrals, the people that call in, even if they want us to discount our commission and we tell them to call Cy Phillips. We need to put them on a list. But if you have a client that was difficult to work with and you would rather they lose your number, you do not have to follow up with them. Just so you know, you have permission to lose their number. Just because you were their realtor once doesn't mean you're stuck with them for life. They can call some other schmuck. And I would focus my time and energy on local people versus the people who've moved out of the area. Now there's value in the people who've moved out of the area because they could come back, but like I wouldn't probably put them on my communication cadence for like the 90-day contact plan. So all of our past clients, and I'll show you this when we get into the system section. We're going to open up Follow Up Boss, my CRM. We're going to look at everything. So when you close, you get moved to the past client category, and we have a few steps of things that we take to make sure that we send you a card and clean up your file a little bit so that we have the correct address on there, and just various things I can show you on that checklist. And then we have a 90-day contact plan. And that's basically whatever you want, just some sort of reach out every 90 days. Now, does it happen every 90 days? Probably not. But the intention is for 4 conversations a year. And if we only get 3, well, that's fine. I mean, it's been kind of busy this last year, so if I only get 1 conversation with it, I consider that pretty good. So when I tell you that these are the recommendations, I also say give yourself some grace, because if you find yourself working 24/7, well, that's probably not your goal to become that wealthy agent. So, you know, not calling people or emailing that, like, there's ways around that to slow down the pipeline. I also send a monthly newsletter. So when I forget to follow up with my people, which is pretty frequently, but I'm the boss, so it's okay. Then they still get caught at least once a month with a newsletter. And I have examples of all of these. We also send them an automated monthly home value email. And I'm going to send them cards. Cards might be one of our secret weapons, where they're going to get a Christmas card, maybe Thanksgiving if we didn't want to do a Christmas card, maybe New Year's if we didn't get our act together before Christmas. One year we sent out Valentine's cards. You know, it's pretty random, but if there's a holiday and we can figure out how to, if we have time to create the strategy around the holiday card, we'll do it. If we know their birthday, we'll send a card. I'm not super religious about asking people when their birthday is, but if we, like Facebook friends, if I see it's their birthday, I'll send them a card. A lot of back to school cards, we send those. People love them. And I'll show you the whole card system too. So for our sphere of influence is exactly the same thing, except we don't have the post-closing checklist. So if we know them, they're getting all of these things. And I think it's like 31, 33. So let's count it up. So 4, 12, that's 16. Oh, that's 24 plus 4 is 28. And okay, so probably around 30 touches a year. Systems. Okay, so first of all, you need to have CRM. You should probably get a newsletter, because this is part of the systems on how we have 76% of our business each year comes from our past clients and our sphere of influence. And a lot of that is newsletter based. Home value doesn't hurt, but it can be expensive. So if that was the one thing you didn't do, I think that'd be totally fine. And cards are so worth it. And social media relationships, we already talked about the social aspect of it.
Question.
Yeah, please.
What systems for your newsletter and post blast? Your newsletter and home value, which two programs do you use for those?
I've got a few recommendations. So we're going to go through each one of these. Thank you for like giving a heads up of what's to come. So first of all, for my CRM, I use Follow Up Boss. And that is $69 per user per month. And one of your handouts is resources. So if you don't have a CRM and you like what I show you, you can sign up for Follow Up Boss using my link, which is Savvy Follow Up. It is an affiliate link, but you get 50% off your first month when you sign up with that. Don't like Follow Up Boss, my feelings aren't hurt. It's not my program, but I think you should use whatever CRM you will actually use. So I used to use Contactually, which has probably changed quite a lot, but it was like this bucketing system where you uploaded your thousands of contacts from your phone or whatever, and then you spent a half hour every day putting them in buckets. Well, that's all I ever did is bucket them. I could never get through to actually work them. So that was useless to me. Then I use Top Producer, which is a recommendation for the home value, but I hate their CRM. And I hate it because there's so many clicks to get to one thing. And Follow Up Boss is just so much more intuitive. So what I learned was I won't use Top Producer. Like it's just, I'll just go off of memory instead of actually using the CRM. So the money I was investing in that each month was a waste. So use whatever CRM, and if it's a spreadsheet, great. If you will use it, it's perfect. And if you're not using it, anybody paying for a CRM they don't use? Wonderful. If you're not using it, stop paying for it. Mariah, you made me forget. I knew I was going to forget what I had prepared. Maybe we should go back to the CRM. Would you guys like to see Follow Up Boss in action? I feel like this might be the wrong place in my presentation for it, but let's do it. So let's see if we know how to use the computer. Okay, and follow-up boss is,
I think it's
my
a
mouse
tab to
isn't
the left.
working.
Right click.
Oh, okay.
You just have to wake it up.
Okay, so Michelle already logged into my follow-up boss. Apparently, we had a meeting recently where they recommended not emailing passwords, and I emailed her my passwords. And I said, oh, did you snoop around? I would have, but she did not. So this is follow-up boss. And so, you know, it's not real exciting. It's just a CRM. And the way that I use it is if I click on the people tab, it loads up everybody. And it's under everyone. You can see over here in the right-hand side, it says everyone. Oh, this view is useless. It's just too much all at once. So I'm a team lead. So I might want to look at my new leads that came in the last 7 days from various lead sources. I probably want to look at my hot prospects. Let's look at just mine. Who do we have here? Oh, Yvonne and Kate and Kyle. Yeah. So these are probably really more lukewarm, not necessarily hot, but they're people that when I click on the hot tab, based on how I have them set up, I know I should follow up with them pretty regularly so that I don't lose them. Although Yvonne, she wants to buy a really tiny house, first time buyer, and that's a really tough thing right now. So you guys could call her from this and I wouldn't mind. People who I know need to be followed up with daily, and I bet Jess has some of these in here. So like Jess has some daily tags on these people where she is trying to convert them from being a brand new lead into converting them to a client working with us. So she just follows up with them. It might be a phone call, probably not. It's probably going to be an email or maybe just making sure that we don't need to contact them. You know, if they're looking at their search results and whatever. Not contacted recently. Does that say 7,000 people in there? Yeah, I told you, we got a lot of junk in here. So I buy leads from Zillow primarily right now, but I have bought them from pretty random places in the past. And so they just all go in here. So I don't get real wrapped up in the not contacted. These are all, they're all just tags that we put on there as far as how often we contact them. So then with our past clients, we've got a quarterly tag. And so, what does that even say? Michael Sharesh. Oh, this is not my past client. I'm like, who is that person? Michael worked with Jess. That's why I am unfamiliar. So look at how short this list is. Like Jessica is on it. She has worked her quarterly follow-ups. She only has a couple in there to do. And way to go, Heather. So I was slowly working my way through doing some equity updates, which is on the past client sphere of influence conversation starters handout that you guys have, because this is the one thing that I find to be really difficult. So like Goran, for example, Goran bought a $50,000 house. What am I talking to Goran about? Hey, how's your $50,000 house? Like I drive by it all the time. It's a dog patch. So, you know, we're not going to be best friends. It was a very transactional relationship. And actually I emailed him an equity update, which is the first thing on the list. And I did that in February and it bounced. So this is, make that bigger.
Control plus.
Control mouse works too, but maybe Control plus is better. Yeah, so I have some email templates, and this is what I was doing today. Although Goran, I think, is just going to get taken off the quarterly tag. So I have this tag over here. I'm just going to exit off because I don't want to talk to him anymore. And that's okay. So, and it's not that I don't want to talk to him. If he called me to have another transaction, I would love that. But I'm not pursuing it just because there might be a little language barrier. Like, it was fine. We don't need to be besties. So this other person in here, Lisa, we kind of are besties. I mean, not really true besties, but she has bought and sold a few houses with me. And last winter she sold her house and now she's living with her daughter before she decides to get into homeownership. Instead, she created a business. So she's in commercial real estate, trying to get her business up and running, which is more of a priority for her right now than owning a house. So you can see the communication in here. For example, here is a recent newsletter that I sent. Oh my God, everything is just so teeny tiny. So when we go back to our little PowerPoint here, the next thing was newsletter, and I use MailChimp. You can use whatever you want. MailChimp, if you have less than 2,000 contacts, is going to be free. We have, I probably pay for, I don't know, 4,000, 5,000 contacts, because all 7,000, a lot of them have unsubscribed or don't have emails. And we have more than 7,000 contacts in there. That was just not recently active. So I pay somewhere around $70. I also like to increase their prices a lot. They're very annoying. I've also tried to replace them with another provider, and I can't find a better one. Does anybody have a newsletter that they manually do? What mail program do you use? Ooh, you guys are doing it illegally, because Flowdesk, I thought it, because they have a really good, like, you can pay, I don't know, $100 and have like unlimited use, except it specifically says not for real estate, because we are email abusers. Yeah. Uh-oh, Paul, he'll bail you out. Well, it's Matt, not you. There you go.
Well, I was the one that brought that to.
Well, good thing you got your license now. Correct. So that newsletter that I showed you, we'll go down the list. It's very simple, and it's just a template I created once, and I update the text every time.
So you have content that's generated for you automatically every month?
Nope, I'll show you when we get to that part of the system though. What? I think their pricing might actually be more than MailChimp. So yeah, I looked at like constant, I think it's pretty similar, but I've always picked MailChimp because the pricing was better. But I know like, oh, what is his name? He's an agent in Louisiana. Ricky. Anybody know who I'm talking about? Ricky something or other. It'll come to me later tonight. I'll be like, oh, Ricky, son of a he's living La Vida Loca in Louisiana, but he uses Constant Contact and really likes it. And that's kind of the thing. Once you start using a program, it sucks to change. So that's why I use MailChimp. I like it that it's free for those of you starting out. Like, you don't have to put all of your junk into it. Like, I have my junk filtered into it. I could probably figure out a way to make the cost lower, but MailChimp also syncs directly with Follow Up Boss. So when I'm in, oh my God, when I'm in the client record, this setup, I tell you, when I'm in the client record, I can see all of the emails and if they clicked it or not. So
If it talks to MailChimp, talks to other CRMs.
it might. I only know Follow Up Boss.
I think it does with Hot Producer. I think it works with the company.
Yeah, like
Like the
it's all
big ones.
API based.
Does it say Heather that tells you when they open letter? They looked at it.
Yeah, maybe Lisa and I aren't besties anymore because she's not reading my newsletters. But I think open rates have I don't trust open rates a lot because, first of all, I read my email in preview pane. So I don't actually open up the email, but I read it and I'll delete it when I'm done with it. And if the security settings, like if they're opening it on their phone, there's new things that basically ruin marketers' ability to market. So it's good enough. It's not the end all be all though.
Don't we send newsletters? That's right.
Yeah, I'm a pretty digital person, other than cards, but you'll see I'm actually sending them over the internet too. They just happen to arrive physically instead of via email.
Heather? I don't mean this in a derogatory way.
I love it when you take it like that.
What could you possibly put? People watch.
Yes, I'm glad you asked. Let's look. Here is the sample. It's a little bit bigger. Okay, this one was in November. So I write this. You know, it's basically the last year has basically been, oh my God, this market. That's like the tone of the email. So then, you know, on Thursday afternoons is when I write the newsletter when it goes out on Friday. And I think, oh God, what should I say? What is happening right this minute? And sometimes I just look at the Market Watch on Matrix. And so in this case, I had sent a Market Watch picture from September. So like, that's the only reason I had this, because I'd already put it into a previous newsletter, because you can't get like historical data from that unless you're Les. And I didn't want to bother Les for this. Although sometimes I put Les Fulgrove stuff in here, and I thank my friend Les for educating all of us. So then I took a screenshot of this and then explained it, because in the last several months, people have been asking, are we in a housing bubble? What's going on? And so the people that open the newsletter the most are past clients. So I'm sending it to all of the people in our database. So Sphere opens it, but really it's our past clients that are the most interested, and old leads, the junk that's in there.
About 100%.
Well, that goes back to who knows, thanks to privacy. And so if they click it, we can tell, or are they holding back on the open rate is due to privacy issues. Internet people have made open rate completely unreliable. So you know how it's like an iOS 14 thing?
I don't even know what iOS.
Yeah, I know just enough to be obviously very clueless about this topic, but I do know that your open rates are unreliable. So when you say out of 100, how many open it? I don't know, maybe 25, maybe 50, but that's not important. That is a vanity metric. What's important is that Andrew Richmond sent me a referral. People will call me, and then let's look further. So this is just like the first paragraph I do, like, here's what I think is going on, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say, please call me to sell your house. Sellers may need to exercise patience. Oh yeah, this was in the winter. I think we were slowing down a little bit. Oh, we have sped up since then. And buyers may even have an opportunity to negotiate. Well, that has come and gone. Then I list a home of the week, which this was my listing. And this is also a hard one to do. It used to be really easy because, you know, houses were on the market for more than 5 minutes. People love the home of the week. So sometimes I'll do like a Best Buy. What is the lowest cost per square foot on the MLS? That's interesting. Why not? Send it out. Sometimes I do the $1 million houses are the only ones staying on the market. So, you know, I'll share one of Rick's listings.
None of mine.
Well, his are usually grossly overpriced, so they're on the market for a long time. And
So are mine.
so, you know, I'll share a picture of it and like, hey, this has a swimming pool. Like, let's go check it out. I'd be happy to show. And of course, nobody ever wants to go see them, but that's okay because they're interesting content for them to look at. And then I'll write like, what did I write here? Oh yeah, this was me schlepping my own listing, so it was pretty salesy. but that's not always the case. You know, sometimes I'll say, can you believe that this house is $2.5 million and it does not have a swimming pool? Like, that is offensive to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Heather, I have a question. So do you always normally talk about market houses in your newsletters? Because you said you've got a pretty high open rate newsletters. I think I've tried to, but I don't want to just send out fluff shit and you know what I mean? So do you find that you're always usually talking about like markets?
That is the newsletter, Des Moines area market update.
Oh, that is the thing.
Yeah. So that's our thing. It's not at the level of Les Holgrove, for example. Like, that's the market guy. But you know, if you want my off the cuff market thing, then you get my newsletter. You know, so
I'm talking about like 10 ways to
Yeah.
declutter your house. Yeah. Giving it real facts.
there's more. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so there's a couple of different things. I said I do YouTube videos. Let's see if this one. Okay, so here was, I think this is the one I sent my maybe not a BFF Lisa. So this one where here I am still talking about the market being on fire, and here's, I don't know, some numbers. Here's the active listings. Geez, like it gets to a point where I just feel like a broken record, and sometimes I say that I feel like a broken record. But then remember, did you guys go on the agent tour where Steph Thomas had this amazing house? So I was like, well, hey, here's the home of the week. If you want to see it, I know all about it. And then, yeah, so I'm like, it's amazing. And then I had, that week, I had done a video. You're supposed to do like a video a week. I maybe get 1 to 3 done a month, usually in the 2 area. So this one maybe was not that particular week, but it was a recent video that I included in my newsletter. So that I like the way that MailChimp embeds the YouTube. I just put the link in there, and then it puts that nice YouTube play button on top of it. And then, you know, skip the video and call us. And then I include every single email. So sometimes I'll have that extra content in there, but it's never 10 ways to declutter your house. It's, if I did that, it would be a video of how to declutter your house. It's not, I don't ever use articles written by somebody else because they are boring. Like, I mean, if you want to know 10 ways, have me over and I'll tell you the 10 things to get rid of, that kind of thing. So I do have recent market activity. So they just click on this and it takes it to a terrible page on my website. Oh, not this page. There's one that's terrible. So this website is powered by Conversion. And so it's just a link that I think that was for new listings. So there's 129. Didn't this email up above say there was like 77 new listings? Oh, no, I don't. I'm confused. So then same thing for price reduce. They can click on that and see, it'll automatically take them to my website. Same with foreclosures. And then this is the really bad, because recent closing, people are actually really interested in that. And so, I mean, sometimes you just have to go with what you have, and this is what I have. And our website is lovely. It's actually half broken right now. It's in process of being rebuilt. But if you click on this, my assistant updates it every Thursday, whether or not I send a newsletter out. And if anyone knows Terry and they're watching this, do not tell her that I don't send a newsletter every week. So then it just brings up, it's just a matrix auto email. And so it goes to her and she inserts it, she updates on the website. So then the link never changes in the template and it always goes to the website. If this is too much work for you, like if I was the one in charge of updating links, it wouldn't get done. So I would have to remove that as an option for MailChimp. But if you have an assistant, it's very easy for them to do. And then this one is pretty far down on the newsletter. And every time I send it out, we probably get 6 to 10 home value inquiries. People just wondering how much the house is worth. This is where the leads that, Ashley, you sold my house in Prairie Trail recently.
Yeah.
We had a lead that came in, I think in 2014. And I think maybe I had scheduled a listing appointment with them, and then they canceled. So I think I just recently found out they ended up selling by owner. So fast forward, they've been in our system for years and years and years. Never talked to them because I'm terrible at doing my follow-ups. And after a while, it's just kind of weird, you know. So they did a home value in February. Like, hey, this name looks familiar. Because even though I don't call them, I still remember them. So I look it up, and sure enough, so I put Jess on the case. I'm like, Jess, she's my ISA. So she's an inside sales associate. And so she follows up with people and says, oh, Heather asked me to call you. So she called them and they said, oh, we're thinking about selling, you know, we're not sure, don't call me, that kind of thing. So she followed up with email. And one day, out of the blue, she gets a phone call from the owner of this house that Ashley sold in Prairie Trail. And the lady is like, I need Heather to come over and give me a price. Just like, great, when works for you. So we scheduled the appointment. A few weeks later, we had it listed. But she called because they've been getting this newsletter. I mean, I haven't been sending it since 2014, but for as long as I've been sending it, they've been getting it. And might delete it a lot of the times, read it once in a while, but they clicked it when it counted. So when I went over to interview with them, we were touring the house and we get to the basement, to the utility room, and there's a water softener. And what do you ask when there's a water softener? Does it stay with the house or is it rented? And they're like, oh, you're the second person that asked that. Mm-hmm. So you're interviewing agents, huh? And they're like, oh, I shouldn't have said. Well, that's okay. Tell me more about that. So now I know what I'm up against. And so they said, well, you're actually the third agent we've had over. And then they had somebody else after me come over. So they had 4 total come over. Their first agent was a friend of the husband. He'd been over like in January or February. I think this was probably March that I was over there. And the friend said the house probably 500,000-ish. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's kind of where my market came in at the top. So cool. Then they had a second person come in. The second person was there for 15 minutes. They know Prairie Trail. They walked in and they said, this will never appraise for more than $435,000. And I'm like, oh shit. Because I know that I have in my pocket a 499 number. And now in this agent, so I got them to tell me who the agent was. And I'm like, ugh, that is not a name I know for overpricing. Because, you know, sometimes people, or I guess underpricing is what I meant. That's not a name I know that gets 300 offers for each listing. So I'm like, oh my God. Well, the information that I have in my folder supports that, but now I'm kind of worried about this other one. So how about I go back to my office and I do a little bit more work, and I literally did 7 CMAs on it. Because like, okay, well, here's just for 2 stories. Here's for all of the houses in Prairie Trail. Here's what's going on in all of Ankeny. Like, okay, let's do half mile. Let's do a mile. Ashley sold it, full price offer, great people to work with.
Yep.
Except they wanted to be friends with the sellers. You know?
They like wanted them there for the final walk.
Sellers, they weren't into that. But yeah, so I think it actually, so we listed it for 475. Of course, they wanted 500 or more, but they're like, wow, you did so much work on this. That makes sense. They called me at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. I met with them at Thursday night, and they're like, oh, we're so sorry. It's so late. You have life, go home. I'm like, yeah. Everybody says that, and yet then they're calling me at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. Are you kidding? And they're like, Heather, we just want to tell you that we're going to hire you, but we know it's Friday night at 7 o'clock, so go have a nice weekend and we'll talk later. Now that's a call I'll take every day at 7 o'clock. So we listed it for 475, got a full price offer, and I think it appraised for like a tiny bit more than 475.
It's like a couple thousand over actually.
Oh, a couple thousand over, okay. So to that agent who said, Never gonna happen at 435? We showed you. Although, I mean, do appraisals really even matter in this market? I kind of feel like everything's a little crazy. But why not try it? And so that was, so then when the lady called, she called Jess and she was saying, as she was telling me the story of this agent that came over, and they were really offended at the 435 price. And the agent left, and the wife says to the husband, "That's it, I'm calling Heather Wright." Isn't that weird? Like a household name, and I don't even know these people. I wish I got those calls every day. And the truth is I don't, but you know, for the content that seems like it's not amazing. There is nothing in here that's amazing. And I'm constantly amazed at how well it works.
I've always been told it's not so much about the content, you're staying top of mind, because whether they open it or not, even if they just delete it, they're seeing your name, they're familiar with, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that. And then to finish my newsletter, referral squirrel. Does anybody have referral squirrel? Yeah, a couple people. So my lender, I think he pays like $50 a month. Is this still Oo's company?
I think so.
Yeah, so Ooh owns this company called Referral Squirrel. And I think as concepts agents, we get a discount. Oh, that was silly. I should have put it on the resources list. Well, you guys know Ooh, you can ask them yourself. But I think if you're an agent, you can get it for yourself for a discount. But maybe one of your preferred lenders already has it. So Jason Kyman, who is at Collins Community Credit Union, who is a great lender, by the way, he gets Referral Squirrel. He sends it to me at the beginning of every month, and then I'll include it in, this newsletter was funnier. So on this one, sometimes I crack myself up with what I write in here. Have you guys ever gone go-karting? Yeah, you know who go-karts aren't made for? Big girls. 6 foot tall, and I got some junk in the trunk, and that is awkward. And then they stuff your head in these helmets, and you're like, oh my God, I can't breathe, get me out of here. So like I basically shared all of that. Pro tips, if you have to wear one of their helmets, it might make you feel a little claustrophobic, but safety first. And if you're like me and you got a little junk in the trunk, prepare to be super uncomfortable in these tiny go-karts. And no one is judging, so don't worry about it and just concentrate on the race. And if you happen to get motion sickness, oh yeah, I forgot about this. My husband, he walks around the room and he's like, oh God, I need to sit down. You'll probably only be able to do 2 to 3 races at a time, but it's super fun and you get a BOGO. Special thanks to Jason, one of our preferred lenders, for hooking up with this freebie. He saves us some money on mortgages and around town. What a guy. And then I include an open house link. Have a great weekend. Like there's nothing to it. And most of it is just, I just duplicate it, redo the freebie. The open house link never changes. And that's because it goes to my website, which is dynamic. Not that website. This website is dynamic. So I have a link from my conversion website. Does anybody have a website that is not, I don't think Remax is even dynamic, is it?
Yeah, you can do search pages. Yeah.
Great. So attend one of Michelle's Remax website classes, or Rebecca.
Yep, we'll be doing the website series starting in the summer sometime. But
Yeah.
it starts to slow down because you're not going to come if you're busy.
Because I do not recommend conversion. It's actually kind of it's expensive now. I pay $3.99 a month for it, and I think it's like $4.99 or more now. Most people aren't crazy like I am. I really like the emails that it sends out for house flirs. So that's stupid. But attend that class, and if you don't have a website that you already know has dynamic search results, then they'll show you how to do that for your newsletter. And all you have to do is spend an hour doing it once, and then you just duplicate it for the next time. You just keep, it's like copy and paste. You never have to redo it. Okay, why are we even here? I have lost complete. Need what?
What vendor?
Let's move on. good point, because I think home values are next. So let's confirm, we went over every system for the newsletter, MailChimp. Okay, so let's talk about pre-written newsletters just for a second. It's so easy to spend 20 bucks and have a company send a newsletter out for you. One time I got a newsletter from a local agent who, you know, is an expert in real estate, but they sent an email, this newsletter that was written for them. You can very obviously tell. And it had chiropractic recommendations and best practices. Well, that's weird because you're a realtor, not a chiropractor. And then it also had like fashion advice in there. What? Oh, like, no, I find that so crazy. And like, yes, just being in their inbox is important, but maybe try some relevance, because unsubscribing from this BS, you know, like, who's taking chiropractor advice from me? No one. It was not me, for the record. Include links for clients. Yep. Example, we did that. Cool. All right. Home value. So I use conversion because it's included in my very expensive website that I don't recommend. If you have a very expensive website that you use, hopefully that is a feature that they have in that as well. Some people don't like the automated home value emails because, well, the value, it's not right. Like, they need a human being. I cannot rely on the internet to give me the price. The internet is not as smart as I am. Yeah, no kidding. That's why you're sending it, and you're going to tell them, hey, this may not be right. This is, my friends at Zillow helped me with this. And you know, they don't know what they're doing half the time. So if you need a professional opinion on what your price is, let me know. The automated home value is to get a response from them. And when it's wrong, it actually works in your favor. So use whatever you already have. Oh my God, I guess the next slide is the vendors. Okay, so let's make this, oh, doesn't want to go bigger. Oh my God. Okay, so squint, and you can see this is a home value sample. This is from my website, and it says the same thing to everybody. I don't even know where Warwick is. So maybe this was an example I got from my website because I couldn't find one in my inbox. So it just says, oh, just letting you know that this month your home at 4 Hidden Meadow is estimated to be worth, yeah, this isn't here, 646,000, whatever. This is a computer generated number, so don't take it to heart if this number doesn't correspond with reality. Feel free to give me a ring so I can fill in the human factors and give you your home's true valuation. Thanks again, and don't be a stranger. BT Dub, check out these similar homes. So that is automatically going to go out to them through my website. And the vendors that you can use, HomeBot, I don't know if you guys will think this is expensive or not. So it's $25 a month for 500 contacts and $10 a month for an additional 500. And I have a lot of colleagues like in California, I think maybe their MLS in Long Beach includes HomeBot as a, I don't know, they all seem to have HomeBot. Everybody but Des Moines seems to have HomeBot. So put it on our DMAR wish list, what we want. And anyway, they seem to really like it, and the consumers respond really well. So this came with good reviews. Do you use HomeBot? Yeah.
I just started it. I was baffled. I had like 25 clients immediately.
Isn't that amazing?
Within the first month. And my open rate is like 90%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It automatically does everything for you.
I don't know. How does HomeBot work?
You put it in your contacts, and then they can go in and manipulate their data. And bot will tell you every single thing they've done on the website. Like, they've updated this, they've looked at that, they did this. So they did it 2 days ago, they did it 7 days ago. It's incredible for follow-up, and then it sends you emails, be like, hey, so-and-so, hey Mariah, Heather's been really like doing a lot of activity. She might be ready to sell. You should call her.
So if you're gonna spend money, don't get a super expensive website that you might regret. That also doesn't let you out of your contract unless you like talk to 17 people the day before it expires. But invest in HomeBot, because that sounds amazing. So for the people online, Mariah said that you just have to input the contact information in HomeBot, and then it like sends them probably the initial email, and then the consumer, the seller, the homeowner, like they can edit it themselves. So basically they're setting up their CMA profile, which is amazing. And then it has some sort of, you could probably, whether it emails them weekly or monthly or whatever, I'm sure you can adjust that cadence. And then she said she got like 25 people to respond in the first month. And what else did she say? But I'm forgetting.
It's very interactive. And even I sent it to myself, my boyfriend had fun playing around with it. It's just like there's some fun tools that are like, it just constantly gives you new stuff to look at. It even tells you what your house can rent for, what you can do with Airbnb, how you can refinance. And so then you pair it with your local lender, and then your lender will get the messages too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how many contacts do you have?
I don't have a lot because I only market it to my past clients.
Yeah.
I need to go in and put in my spirit. So about 100.
Okay,
Right
that's not
now, but
bad.
I haven't put all my people in yet. Just my past clients that I actually like that I want to market to get.
So with HomeBot already, do they have to be a member of DMAR?
You have to go through a lender.
You have to go through a lender to use it?
Yeah, realtor. From what I was told, the realtor team, right? So it's like 20. I think I pay $30 a month. Then that's in conjunction with the officer.
Okay, so what Mariah is saying is go to HomeBot's website and check that out. So, okay, so another option is Cloud CMA and HomeBeat, which is $45 a month discount for annual payment. And if you're Remax, and I did this presentation originally last year for the world, not just concepts, but Remax, you might get Cloud CMA for free. I did sign up for it at some point in time before yesterday, and it's really cool. I've always wanted to use Cloud CMA for my CMAs because like I started at Iowa Realty and we had Toolkit CMA there, and it's really hard to use when you're not at Iowa Realty. I don't know why. I couldn't figure it out when I left and came to Remax, and so I just started using the Matrix CMAs. They're so ugly, but I actually call it the ugly report. So I tell my people I have a pretty report, which is RPR, then I have an ugly report. But God doesn't give with both hands. So the ugly report is most accurate. Like that is literally my skill. I know, but I couldn't figure it out. That's what I'm saying. Somehow my brain was left at Iowa Realty with Toolkit CMA. They had some sort of integration there that the funnel thing here. So, but anyway, HomeBot is an additional $199 a year. And then of course, there is Market Snapshot, which used to be sold separately, but from what I could tell on the internet, you have to buy it now in conjunction with Top Producer. It's pretty expensive at $95 a month. I mean, if I had to choose, I'm kind of jealous I don't use HomeBot. So that's the one I would get. Okay, cards. So I don't send physical cards. My handwriting is terrible. The more I don't use handwriting, the worse it gets. So I use AM cards because it has a integration with Follow Up Boss. Send out cards. I used to use them. And they're definitely a better deal because for $97 a month, you get unlimited sends. Whereas AM cards is like $39. And I forget, you're actually paying per card, but it also banks up your amount. So whatever the cost is per card, it shows on their website. I think it's like $1.58 per card and then maybe postage on top of that. And so we calculated for when I was thinking about switching from send out cards to AM cards, we looked at how many cards we sent each month. And of course, December, we sent hundreds of cards. But even in that year, if we had AM cards at this pricing, we would have spent less than at send out cards at $97 a month. And send out cards, like they've got their API locked down, so it doesn't, you have to enter everything manually, which is hard. So,
Every time.
well, it holds their address, but if they move, now you have to go in and yeah. So it's just, you have to log in. It's the top producer thing. Like there's so many clicks, I'm just not going to use it. So you could also do handwritten cards. Like you don't have to do one of the digital solutions on here. You could be old school and send out cards. Does anybody send cards regularly? I mean, is it amazing for you guys?
I always follow up after open house, like my buyers for your house, that was an open house lead.
Oh,
And I followed up with the handwritten card that I was just glad that they stopped by. Like,
did they give you their address or are you a creeper?
I'm a creeper.
Haha.
But look, I mean,
Right.
they,
I mean, who here's not? a
yeah, they
creeper?
still use me as their agent. I usually will follow up, like if we have like a good rapport and we have good conversation and just say thanks for stopping by. And then I partnered with Smoothie King and she gave me a bunch of like free smoothies to stick in my thank you cards.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Happy. What?
I'm a Tom Ferry and Brian Katie, so, you know, I've done cards for years, so, and it's been effective. I've listed houses where I said one years and years and years ago. And I think I just sent them to neighbors in the listing, you know, hey, pick your neighbors, you know, let anybody know.
Yeah.
And it's like several months later that the house is sold. An acreage actually sold and closed and done deal, long time. And these people called me that was mom's house for city. And they said, and I said, well, how did you ever, you know, how'd you know about me? I told the couple. Well, they said, your card's hanging on our refrigerator.
Wow.
Or, my refrigerator, they said, you sent that to us when you sold the acreage down the road. We just put that so much.
So you're sending
So it does
postcards.
No, this was a card, just a handwritten card. And sometimes I send just max cards, you know, I sometimes have those to pick up on, and then I have greeting cards.
Okay. So you're sending cards to the geographic farm around your listing,
I have,
and you got a listing from it. That is a hot tip from Kathy.
I've got that, and more than once.
Does it make your hand hurt?
But I also got to somebody's house that was there, you know, there was that, they used to do calendars, monthly calendars.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there was one on somebody's refrigerator, they left it to somebody else.
Well,
You never,
yeah, that's true. You do never know.
but it's fun, it's, you know, it's a.
Yeah, and it's very personal marketing, and you never know. So especially if things are slow, it is something which is better than nothing. So cards to send. Oh yeah, I don't think I mentioned this before. We always send a house anniversary card, birthday cards, holiday cards, cards with pictures of their kids, like back to school, Halloween, thank you cards for referrals, and I sent brownies or cookies. I recently just saw they had cookies available in AM cards.
Heather, I have a question. Does it look like, is it in the font, like, does it look like a handwritten card, or is it free?
Mariah, you are always one step ahead of me.
I'm gonna talk.
No, you do. You do.
I'm just so into it, okay?
Okay, so I don't think I can make this bigger. This one was sent using AM cards, and it does have kind of a funky font. You can upload your own handwriting, which I've never done, but you can. I mean, my handwriting is terrible. I would upload pretty handwriting, not mine. And so this is the fake handwriting that AM cards uses, which I think is better than the fake handwriting that send out cards uses. So yep, they all use fake handwriting. And so this was a 5th year anniversary for Kathy, who was also my Spanish teacher in high school. So hola, Kathy, is what I should have said. And then Jerry and Rita, oh, they're the best. They they almost never sell with me, but they always buy. They like, for some reason, they like to sell next gen or to sell by owner, whatever. Thanks for calling me to buy. And so this is probably their 5th or 6th transaction with us. And this is a template card, and I'll show you the system in Follow Up Boss, where my assistant probably went in and just like 2 or 3 clicks sent it. And then this is a back to school card. And if you look really close where my mouse is, oh, this is the funniest back to school picture. So the dad is like peeking out that side window, and it's hilarious. And so I used send out cards to send this one. I don't think that really matters, but it was just a Canva template that I used that was card size. And then they have a third child who had a different back to school day. And so she got a card of her own. So, and these kids, I mean, I guess I knew their parents before they had kids, and I met them at an open house. If these are not friends, they're clients who've become people that I know that friendly, but I still don't have I don't have dinner with them on Friday nights, so like they're friends, but not close friends.
So you just took their picture off like social media.
Totally copy paste. Well, I guess it's not copy paste, it's download, upload.
I use the ink cards and they have multiple options for font and you can even change the color of the font as well.
What company?
Ink cards, INK.
What's their pricing?
Well, I think they're like $4 a card, so now
Oh.
I'm questioning my choices that I've made in life, but I'll go back and figure that out.
Hey, we all do it. What expensive website.
Hey, Heather, I'll throw out a plug for Madison. Like me, you don't want to have to mess with any of that stuff. Send it to Madison from Concepts Marketing and do all of it. Just give them the name, address, the anniversary date.
Is she gonna do onesie twosie cards?
What do you mean?
So if your anniversary is, oh, really?
Yeah, I just get her in my database and they do it every month. I never have to worry about it.
What do they charge
It's not that much. I don't remember the per item, but it also shows up on your bill, so you don't have to pay out of pocket. Just comes out of your commission. It's plug and play.
Or out of your buyer broker fee?
Yeah. It's not a bunker fund.
What's that?
Yeah, probably that's something.
Yeah, I think it is. I've used Creative Concepts for postcards, and they're very easy to work with. I didn't know they did cards. See, you guys need to be added to your resource list. I am incomplete. The things you learn at these trainings.
You can really go through and like look through brand, like, and we can too, but it's not.
And you can customize it with them. It's just, it
Yeah.
takes more work. Like, if you don't want to have to do anything, like for your stuff, I don't want to have to do all that, right?
Right.
Customization. So it's great if you want to customize it, but I don't want to have to customize it. I just want to plug and play, right?
And we like to avoid work on my team. So customizing is like that 5-minute break from, okay, here's another equity update that we'll have to do, that kind of thing. So it is fun. I told you we never ask for referral, but we're not above subliminal referrals. So on the back of our cards, these are a couple of samples of what our back of our cards are. So that's me, and that's my dog Murphy. And Jessica and Moko, they're both very short, but it's just fun. And so then we have like our office phone number, which is our follow-up boss phone number. So they really know how to get you to stay forever because you use their stuff and it's ingrained in your marketing, and that's okay. So then, we also have like just different ways that you can customize a message on the back of a card. And so how do I get out of this? I wanted to show you, speaking of systems and customization, let's go to follow-up boss. Now I have so many tabs I can't. Right, so let's go to Heather. Right. Typing on a keyboard that is not your own is hard, isn't it? Okay, so this is my favorite lead. I send it stuff all the time because then I can test what things look like, templates and whatever. And so the AM cards integration is on the right-hand side. And so because I have a team, if it was just me, I would have Heather Wright as the last name. But instead it's Heather at Heather Wright and Associates. And so then Jess goes in and she changes it to Jess, and Moko changes it. So, it is one extra step, but sometimes with these integrations, you still have to create system workarounds. So this is the best that we came up with. And so that's what shows up for the return address. So then we've got some templates. So house anniversary, shut the front door. It's your house anniversary. And then Holy sheep. I really like dirty puns. Not really dirty puns, but like talking dirty without talking dirty. Although if you know me, you know that I'm actually not afraid to say naughty words. So this one was fun. May the fourth be with you. My husband is our graphic designer, so matters who you sleep with. And he is also a Star Wars nerd. So, you know, we embrace that on his behalf.
So you created all those on your own.
A lot of these are, yeah, so like they're branded, you know, they're boring, blue and orange and floral. So, but we don't always use our own. So then this is the terrible dashboard for AM cards. If you were to log in and like if you didn't have Follow Up Boss and you wanted to use it, you would have to you know, enter your people manually. But they have a lot of options if you don't sleep with a graphic designer. So like, oh, it's Nurses Month, I guess end of school. So, you know, the cards that show up at the top for featured and new are usually related to like what's going on out there right now. And so then they have a lot of real estate clients. So you could use these cards for prospecting for sell by owners. Ready to buy or sell? I'm all ears. That's cute.
So Heather, so you're using this with Follow Up Boss. You go into Follow Up Boss, then pick the template, all the cards you want to send a particular person in that particular month,
Yeah, let's send some house anniversary cards.
and then they just and cards then go out and physically send these cards.
Yeah.
Are they sending them to you?
It is a card that shows up at your house in the mail, not my house. So if I sent you a card, it shows up at your house in the mail. Has the funky handwriting on the envelope,
Right.
but then you open up the card and it's just like a Hallmark card that's.
Describe your own anniversary card, or do they do that for you?
Everything I do is a template I created.
Okay.
They do have things like the for sale by owner. They do have some that are pre-scripted for you if you wanted to use that.
So you go in and pick your house anniversary card and the template that you want to go in it? Is that
Yeah.
what you do? And
Yeah,
then
so I'm a
they
little
just-
behind on my house anniversaries. So let's click on Abby here. And I do scroll down to make sure I didn't send a house anniversary card. Okay. So this one I would do shut the front door, it's your house anniversary. And then I would say happy house anniversary. But see, this is kind of one of those glitchy things where it will just say Abby, happy house anniversary. But Abby is actually married to Corey. So I'll have to go in and edit that. So happy house anniversary. We hope your home is still everything you dreamed of. Yay, yay, yay. We wrote that and put it in there and it's just saved as a template. And so there, does that say June 16th?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank God for you.
2021.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'm going to schedule this to go out like June 9th. So then they should get it by the 16th. I'll click send card. And then it updates here, but I know I have to fix the greeting and salutation. So I'll click on edit card. And then you can click here and you can change whatever you want. Oh, which is exactly why we're here. So I'm going to click on edit text. Oh my God.
Brings that up.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna Abby and Corey from, I think, New Zealand, and that's how they spell Corey there. Okay, so click done. Then I'm going to Add Corey. Save changes, and it will go on June 9th. So let's look at other cards that, let's look at my history. So Ryan and Amber are like some of my best referral sources. So I sent them this card. This is a template in AM cards. Just for the record, you're awesome. And they have 4 kids. So sending just 2 brownies is not cool.
Right.
So I have to send them like a pack of 6 gourmet fudge brownies, which gets expensive after a while. But, you know, it is nice to get their referrals. So the power of the card, I said, is like one of our best secret weapons. I have an investor. Does anybody work with investors? Like they're kind of, man, like my investor is like a manly man. Like he is a contractor. He is not married. He is single usually. He is just a dude, right? So like to me, having that, so what did you say?
Graphic design.
He is not into graphic design. But he thinks I'm hilarious, and I am hilarious. So let's look up Steve Hamilton. And he buys, oh, come on, did I spell it wrong? Okay. Not being able to see is really hard. So last year, Steve bought this house. Hopefully I just made that 2021. Okay, good. So last year, here are the cards I've sent to Steve. Last year, he bought this house. This is not a template. This is a Heather Wright job. So I just took that picture from the internet and put it in a card because you know who doesn't check for copyright issues? The United States Postal Service. And AM cards, they don't care. So last year, Steve bought a house that smelled like pee. It was horrible. And I'm like, oh my God, are you sure you want to buy this house? This pee is never going to come out here. And we thought it was cat pee. Turns out it was dog pee. So dogs can ruin a house just as easily as cats. And so he told me, recently actually, he told me this, that this card that he got, which was just his congratulations card, and I wrote in, congrats on your newest investment. So he flips it while he lives there. So he's kind of not really your traditional investor. And I'm like, hopefully by the time you get this card, things will be smelling like roses. Can't wait to see what you do with the place. And so he told me recently that card, he laughed so hard, he kept it on the refrigerator until he listed it for sale.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, so now I feel like the stakes are raised because now I have to compete with myself, and that is very difficult. So I ripped another picture from the internet on his most recent congratulations card. Because, man, it's hard for investors out there right now. So that's the card he got this time. I'm going to guess it's not fridge worthy. The "you've got to be kidding me" right now is pretty good. So I think, you know, for like the dude's dude to have that on the refrigerator, there's something special about that. All right. $39 a month. And so that $39, I'm going to walk and talk because I need to get some water. So that $39 is like your subscription fee. And I think you might get a $40, their website is kind of confusing. They make it sound as though they give you a bonus of $40, but I think that's what you're just paying for. So they'll charge you $1.68, and then you pay postage on it. And so then I have to set up so that when my balance gets to be $10, it automatically bills me again. So I may not spend just $39. Actually, but what I really like about AM cards is that if you didn't spend $39 worth of cards last month, it rolls over. But if you only spent $10 a card, it's not wasting that difference. What is it, $25 difference? So that's what I like about AM cards, is that it rolls everything over. So throughout the year, a lot of times we'll get a pretty good balance going, and then it's gone at Christmas. And then build again, and build again, build again. Any questions on the card system?
Did you bring the follow-up costs and then you're digging into them?
I have been with Follow Up Boss for so long, I can show you what it used to look like. Maybe. Michelle, my mouse doesn't work. So classic Follow Up Boss, honestly, was a little easier to learn. Isn't that funny looking? And so like we had our labels here on the side of, you know, like you just go down your list. I want to look at my hot prospects. I want to look at the people I need to nurture. And, you know, I want to look at my past clients. So you have people like assigned in their stage, and then you work in it every day, and it just becomes second half, and it becomes, you know, you guys probably won't have access to this if you have not been here, called Follow Up Boss 2. Hopefully the last one, because I hate learning new things. It was a transition when we switched to this Follow Up Boss. And so we're very tag heavy now instead of having follow-ups assigned. But for example, with the equity updates, yeah, I know that I want to send an equity update every quarter to somebody. So I work them out of the quarterly bucket. And what I learned from that was that not everyone in the quarterly bucket needs an equity update. So instead, and let me tell you another problem with the quarterly update. When you don't do your follow-ups on time, like me, the quarterly list is so big. If I were to go in and do my equity updates, for example, I'm probably going to take a break and leave my computer at some point, and I'm going to forget who I did. And so it may not generate like the activity it needs to take it off of the quarterly update. So I actually created a new system where now, like this Lisa, she doesn't own a house, so she doesn't need an equity update. So she's not going to get assigned the equity update plan. But Ben, for example, will. So I'll do his equity update. And then I'm going to assign an action plan. And I just type in the beginning of the action plan name. And now that plan is going to remind me every 90 days for like 8 years to do that task. So then when I come into Follow Up Boss, I'll have my tasks here. So I know the tasks I have to do today. Well, guess who's got overdue tasks? And then future tasks, which I think the future ones are like maybe tomorrow tasks. They're not like months out in the future. So there is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's worth it because what else are you going to do?
How are you updating addresses or person have a client or still my owner? Have to what address that?
Well, we would take a page out of Ashley's book and we would use probably forewarn.
Or like the Polk County Assessor did.
Yeah.
Put them up on there just to
I mean, if you know that they bought for sell by owner, like that's cool. Congratulations. If that ends your relationship, that's one thing. But if like Steve, for example, my investor, like we have an agreement. If I show him the house, he will use me to buy the house. He's incredibly loyal, but he doesn't use me to look at for sell by owners. And that's fine. And he sells most of his stuff for sell by owner too. And when he can't sell it, he uses me. So I'm perfectly okay with that. He'll call me and ask me, like he's been getting a lot of friends of his mother's. So like his mother is 90 some years old. So she's got a lot of people who need to sell the houses they've been in for 50 some years. So he'll call me and ask for evaluation. And that just helps with that relationship, run an RPR report, tell him what I think. And then if he tells me he buys it, I update the address. Or if you could make that part of your contact thing. So if you have a follow-up with your person in 30 days, hey, how's that going? Have you closed yet? I want to send you something. And maybe you still send them a congratulations on their home because you did work together. So maybe you want to send them a card and that's okay to get their address. Or just look it up and add it and mail them later. Like you're omniscient and you just know everybody's addresses because we're realtors and we do. Okay. Whew. The third step of what is this class? Oh, the database R&R. Oh my gosh. This is pretty long, isn't it? Is social. Okay, and social is more about relationships than it is about social media. And I don't know about you, but I don't really love calling people all the time. I had a friend when I first got into real estate, he was like, yeah, do they teach you to call somebody every month? And I'm like, I guess that sounds like something that we probably talked about, but I don't do that. And so he's like, yeah, my realtor calls me every month. And he described the conversation. It was so awkward. And I'm like, well, I guess that's what works for him. So that realtor also made my friend pick him up for showings. So he may be the most genius of all of us because he's not spending any money on gas. So, right. So I have one of the resources that Michelle handed out to you guys is a past clients sphere of influence conversation starters checklist. I wonder which tab that is. Oh, right here, re-engagement. So like, I have a tendency that I just sort of lose touch with people before I had all of my follow-up box systems. And so then it's like, okay, and maybe even now I haven't done the follow-ups for a year. So what am I going to say, Shane, when I call him up out of the blue? Maybe it's been 10 years. What?
I know you haven't shaved since the last time I said it.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. It's going to get hot one of these days. You're going to really regret that mess.
Oh my God.
So, but seriously, that is a real thing. When you haven't talked to somebody in so many years and all of a sudden you're trying to drum up business, kind of embarrassing. And you might feel ashamed that you did not stay in touch with them because industry leaders say, oh, you've got to stay in touch. You've got to. So like, you should have done that, but they don't know that. There is no reasonable expectation from your clients that you should stay in touch with them every month, every year, whenever. My insurance agent does not call me ever, and that's okay. I'm cool with that. So whatever you do, don't feel that you have to apologize. I just looked and I'm like, oh my God, there's like a bird. Who's in here? It's probably me. Yeah, so definitely don't apologize and be like, oh, I'm really sorry. I haven't stayed in touch. It's been forever since we take the sorry out. Hey, how's it going? What have you been doing for 10 years? Are you still living in the same house? Did you cheat on me? So instead of taking that approach, because I also am not a fan of forward, talking about family, occupation, what's the R? Recreation, and what's D?
Desire.
Oh God, can you imagine? Oh, what do you dream about? Like, you'd be like, girl, get out of here. That is not.
I really want to know.
Yeah, it's none of my business. So instead, I've got a list of people are requesting at, oh, is this the online people? Did you share?
Yes, yes.
So you guys have to make your own copy. Yeah, so let's see, equity updates, I already showed you. Did I show you the system on equity updates? You guys want to see how we do that? Do I have my matrix login?
You can log in mine.
No, I don't think so. It's,
I thought it was mine.
no, it's not really matrix. It's the stupid link. Yeah, okay. Everybody knows how to do a search in matrix. So for my equity updates, and this, we started doing, we pretended to do equity updates for many years. And last year we actually started doing equity updates, and it has been one of the things that has been really incredible. Not incredible, but it's also one of those things where you're like, I am amazed at how well that worked, because it is so stinking simple. So let's close some of these things. Yeah, is Matrix even up? Can you
Log in.
can you make it happen?
Yep, I'll make it happen.
Yeah, so it's super simple. So you know your client's address. Mine's 4415 Skyline Drive. So I would search for active, pending, and sold in 90 days, not 180. Mine's set to automatically be 180. Reset it to 90 days in a quarter mile, which is hard. It's like Matrix is funny. You have to set it at a half mile and get the search to pull up and then change it to a quarter mile. And it'll show like, you know, 3 or 4 results. Today I had one that had 52 results. I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot of construction going on in your backyard. So, great, thank you. So let's just run that search. Oh my God.
Got one extra click.
Thank goodness for, anybody here on the MLS committee?
Not on MLS.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Anybody know a guy?
Actually, I think Shane is on the MLS
Yeah,
committee.
Sure.
Okay, now you touch this mouse and it doesn't want to work for me. Seriously, it is possessed. Okay, Michelle, I'm gonna have to make you do it. Or this is gonna be a very abstract. What? Oh. Oh. My goodness. Yeah, this is the worst. Let's all email Shane and say, I'm embarrassed at the mouse in,
So I'm on his team, and every Monday morning we have a team meeting, and the mouse that we use at our meeting.
Does that?
Brenda has a heck of a time with it, like.
yeah,
Well, and it was smooth up until what, 10 minutes
Yeah.
ago in this?
yeah. Okay, and now I can't. What is this?
You're on quick search, are you?
Yeah, we're going back to the abstract here. So you just do your active, pending, and sold in 90 days, and then you get your search results that come up. I like to do things the hard way that result in a little bit extra work. So in my follow-up boss, dead mouse, my follow-up boss, go back to, I did one for Kyra earlier, and then her email bounced. Okay, so I sent this email to Kyra. So what I do is I come in here and I click on templates, and then I know that I have 3 or 4 equity update templates. And so RPR equity update. Some of these are, I feel like, new to me. So the very first one that I sent out was, oh my God. This was the email. One of my New Year's resolutions is to make sure all of my clients are well informed about their micro real estate market, the market immediately surrounding your home. Introducing the equity update. This isn't a market analysis to give you a price on your home. Rather, it's a snapshot of activity going on in your neighborhood. click here. This is where I paste in that link from, I don't paste in it, but you make it a link so that it says click here. To see all the active, pending, and sold homes on the market in the last 90 days. It's just a small distance from your home. So that's why I do the 0.25 miles, because a half mile usually gets a lot of results, and I want it to have a small amount of results. And the smaller, the better, because it leaves them curious and not overwhelmed. Although if the results are 0, I will expand that. And if you have people who are like acreages, I might just skip those. Maybe send them, oh, that's what the RPR, that's, yeah. So when I decide to skip somebody, I send them an RPR report instead. And that's what that equity update email that I was confused by was. I always remember what I forgot. Even if you have no intention of selling your home for many years, it's a good idea to know how things are going in the neighborhood. Over time, you'll see trends develop. Hopefully the prices increase. It's not always about prices either. That's why I included photos from the MLS so you can see updates and overall property conditions for homes on the market. Because people love to see inside the houses. They love to know what their neighbors' places look like, what they sold for. And so I accidentally clicked the wrong thing to get us to this page. So let's just look at the results of this email. So this new year, first ever equity update kind of introduced it, explained it. Looks like we've sent 401 and it has an 86% open rate, which is not necessarily true as we talked about at length earlier, but that's what we know about. So it might be higher. And it's kind of a dumb thing, right? It's amazing. And then 44% clicks, which is great. 5% replies, which only includes email replies, not the phone calls or the text messages. And this has been really great because it allows us to stay in touch with people for a relevant to our occupation reason that actually provides value. And it is not telling them to go party at the newest restaurant in town that I'm never going to go to because I'm a homebody. So then equity update 1 and 2, we haven't sent as much, but still 88% open rate, 77%. The RPR one has 67%. It's just a really good addition. And it's basically the same exact email and changed a little bit. Next year, I'll probably have to do 4 new ones to change them up again, just to not feel like it's copy and paste job from last year. So what else is on our list? Oh, Shane, I drove by your house the other day and I saw that you added an American flag in the front yard, and I think that's amazing. Looks good. How's everything going? Well, that's easy. If you actually drove by their house. If you didn't drive by, then you would change that to, I was in your neighborhood the other day and it made me think of you. How is everything going? It's a very short, sweet, to the point email with no apology for not staying in touch for 10 years. So there's a bunch of other suggestions on there. Oh, and Paul has written some in as well. Something home value, yep, all good things. Didn't know you could have Snoop over your shoulder, did you?
Okay.
Yeah, just say you're thinking about them, comment on their social media posts, send a message on social media. I do like the social media aspect or opportunities to stay in touch with people, because I really might only engage with them on social media. So Jerry and Rita Reed, for example, that's right, we were on that resource. Sorry. Jerry and Rita Reed, they post all the time. They're like 77 years old, and you know, old people love to post what they're doing all day long on social media. So I'll like it, I'll comment. The other day I posted something on my business page, and oh, it was a new picture of me, and so we don't normally show people what we look like on our team, I guess. And so it got a lot of traction, and Rita commented on that post, oh, I love your picture from me and Jerry, you know. So like just commenting back to them in my mind counts as that conversation. So I don't have to call and ask how things are going because we're in communication pretty regularly. So I don't necessarily friend people, like send them a friend request unless I really like them and I really want to spend more time with them. But if they friend request me, then I always approve it. And I generally don't post anything that might get me unfriended. Oh, what else? Back to school card, we covered that. The Halloween card is the same as the back to school card where you just pop in a picture of their kids' costumes. People love those.
So would you pull that from like the previous year's Halloween, like, or if they, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you try to send out like early October, so they get it around Halloween.
Yeah, it is awkward, isn't it? Little kids have Halloween parties like a week or two before Halloween.
Yeah.
So you know, I guess we don't normally do adult costumes.
No, that's what I meant, like for their children.
Yeah, I mean, Scott and I sometimes get invited to Halloween parties and he really loves to dress up. Usually it's Indiana Jones. So, or Wolverine or, you know. So if we have a fun picture, I would maybe include that. Like, oh, here was our Halloween costume this year, you know, whatever. But just what feels good to you.
Well, think about how many people take pictures but never print them.
Right.
To receive a printed one. Is
Yes.
Very
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so that Abby Burton that came up on my follow-up boss, she closed last year, and I forget who her lender was, but it was somebody she knew. I didn't know it. And so this guy shows up to closing, and she's hugging him, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but great. And so do you guys want a picture together? So I took a picture of her and him, and then I think they felt bad for me, and they're like, oh, do you want a picture, Heather? Sure, I'll take a picture. So I sent a card with a picture of her and her lender. It was like, I used a Canva template, so it was in a circle, and I put that on the outside of the card so she could actually put it on the refrigerator. And then I put a picture of her and me on the inside of the card because why not?
Right.
But I knew I wasn't going to be the one on the fridge.
Right.
But I would be happy to help anybody get on the fridge at my actions, you know?
Right, absolutely.
You could offer a vendor list. I mean, there's so many things, and you guys have access to this. And if we need to email the PDF to the online people, we can do that. Any other ways of contacting, like starting that conversation with past clients that maybe wasn't on the list or we didn't talk about? Have them over for beer.
Yeah, I has to call you.
The FBI hasn't called me.
That's a good one.
It is.
Okay, good. No, I just.
Yeah, I bet your callback rate is. Shane Goyley here all day. Okay, and lead with value. So that's that. I think the equity updates are great for that. The HomeBot things are great for that because it is valuable information. A homeowner loves, well, I mean, honestly, a person loves to think about themselves, talk about themselves. And when we're leading with value, we're giving it to them for them. So it's something that will help them. People respond when you care about them. I'm a high D, very low on the caring. I don't even know what letter is the caring letter. Is it C or S? I'm pretty sure I'm low on both of those. So having a little list of, okay, what are you going to talk about this time is helpful. But when you need me for real estate, like I'm your girl, I'm there, I know what I'm, and so they don't need me to be their friend, but I can still care about them. I think at the bottom of that list is like, yeah, client events, pie giveaways, not my thing, but that is a great, I know a lot of people have really good results from client parties and the Thanksgiving pie giveaways where they have good retention or repeat business and referrals from that. But basically all you have to do is be visible to them in a way that makes them think, Heather is amazing at real estate. Insert your name there. Blank is amazing at real estate. My go-to realtor. Social media system. I mean, is anybody like, am I the only person that hates social media? Like there are so many platforms and oh my God, now I have to do TikTok. I mean, I love TikTok, but I usually don't look this nice. So my recommendation is to pick a platform and focus on that. And if you cannot pick a platform because you are a realtor and you have squirrel brain, then use a scheduler like Publer. That's what I do, squirrel brain. So Publer.io is the scheduler that we use, and they have a free option that's, I think, pretty robust. And I think most people could probably use the free option and it'd be just fine. If you wanted to upgrade, it's also not very expensive. So that's the only scheduler that I use. So that's on my resources list. Your posting cadence for your visibility, you don't really have to do every day. Actually, I think every day hurts a little bit, but 2 to 3 times a week is perfectly fine. Because also, what are you saying? Like, if you say things that are of value, then 2 to 3 times a week is perfectly fine. And it complements your existing referral system. Being a TikTok influencer is not necessarily going to get you business, especially if you're brand new and you do not have an established market. My friend Glenda Baker is in Atlanta, and I am sure you have all seen her. She's like Glenda Baker, oh my stars, and she wears stars, and she has that sweet Southern accent, and she is amazing. I love watching her TikToks, but I also question, how much business are you truly getting from this? Because you know who's watching her TikToks? All of us. So don't rely just on social media. I've recently seen a couple of people who can't run ads on Facebook or Instagram because Facebook decided they just didn't like them anymore for no reason. Maybe they got reported for something, I don't know. But I think it's very dangerous to put all your eggs in one basket and to use your social media system as the first basket. Have it be your last basket to complement the rest of your system. And then if you do content, if you write blogs or you do videos or you do TikToks, put them on Reels, put them on Facebook. Repurpose everything that you do because no one is seeing everything. I do YouTube videos, and most of those are not really lead generating videos. They're more like, hey, here's what earnest money is. So please don't make me have this conversation with you in person. Watch this freaking video, because if I have to explain it again, I might die. But that's kind of what my YouTube strategy is. What do I not want to do anymore? I don't want to talk about earnest money. I don't want to talk about this, that, or the other thing. I have a very negative approach to my marketing, but it's how I do it, and it's thinking about making it more efficient and sustainable for me. And now we have content that we can email out to people. So let's look at that, for example. Come on, follow-up box. So if I go back to Kyra, and let's say she's a new buyer, and let's say maybe she asked, are we in a bubble? Or what should I expect this year? What about closing costs, earnest money? Do I have to have a home inspection? How are interest rates affecting my buying power? I mean, she's not asking that question, but I want her to think about it. So these are all videos that I've done. And then I create a template in Follow-Up Boss. I also share it to social media. But those posts, they die a pretty quick death. If you can reuse your content in your database R&R strategy, this will last a lot longer. And I don't really care about the views that I'm getting. I care more that this is helping build that relationship with the person that's already in my database. Maybe it was a paid lead, maybe it was a referral, maybe it's a previous customer, but I'm using that content to compound that relationship. So Kyra's going to get this email. Well, if she had an email that worked, she'd get the email. She'd be like, oh my God, Heather is so smart. I can't believe she does all these videos. It's not that many. It's like maybe 30. So if I do them right, they will last a long time. Sometimes I do them wrong and they have dated pretty quickly. But, you know, this one's going to be dated pretty quickly. If you're thinking about buying a new home in 2022, way to go, Heather. 2023, you can't use that video anymore. So reuse your content because you worked really hard on it, and why wouldn't you? For your content strategy, you want people to know you, like you, and trust you. I'm not really an expert on that because sometimes I don't think the real me is that great. So I want them to know me, like me, before they actually get to know me. And, you know, being a local expert, I think is good. I don't know that advertising other businesses as your sole content strategy is really the best thing, because people need to know that you're the expert. I really like buyer content because buyers are often sellers, sellers are buyers. Seller content, so, remember, sellers are often buyers. I also post a lot of social proof. So this morning I wrote a few posts on closings that we had, and I told the story of the house that Ashley sold. So they had 4 realtors come in and look at what we did. We got it sold, we staged it, we did all these amazing things, and we sold it for $40,000 more than this other agent said. They obviously picked the right agent to list their house. Another sale, you know, thank goodness I just wrote these this morning. So we had a buyer who, how many contracts does it take for these first time buyers to actually get under contract? This guy, 5 was the magic number. 2022 is hard. And so then now we have something to talk about. Well, it normally takes buyers a couple of offers to realize that we're the experts. They're the boss. We're the experts. That's something Glenn Baker said, and I stole. Being TikTok. So, you know, then I share the story with that. We also think, because I don't want to send the message that, hey, you guys are so dumb that you're doing this the hard way and you're not listening to me. Shame on you. I'm always right. So see, I have to hide that not nice part of me. And what is the value in that story? You'll always get the home you're meant to have. And in this guy's case, it was home number 5. So thank goodness he didn't get the others, blah, blah, blah. And people really like that. Now, they don't necessarily get hundreds of likes, but people I know in real life ask me about that. I'll get text messages. Hey, what was with that house? I am the go-to agent for the people who know me in real life. And that helps. Oh, entertaining. If you're entertaining, that's a pretty good feature. If you are not, well, I mean, I think I'm entertaining, but I'm not that entertaining on social media. So if you're entertaining, you should let it loose and entertain people. And then general real estate is good content, holidays. If it's good, reuse it. Heck, share it again next week. Because the way the algorithms work, you might get 10% of the people that follow your page to see your stuff. Instagram might be even less now. It's kind of slowly dying away. So share it again, share it again, share it again. I also do not love a lot of automation. So choose what you automate carefully, because you're the best person to build those relationships. Like that email that was automated from that other realtor who was giving chiropractic advice in her real estate newsletter. That doesn't make any sense. So she's paying for a service that's doing her a disservice. So the amount of time it takes once you've got the system created, you doing it manually is going to be better than paying a service to do it. So you can use your own automation, like setting up, systems for your equity updates and setting up systems for sending out your YouTube videos. Whatever system you identify that you need, if you're doing it over and over a lot, well, you probably need a system for it. People know when you're not being authentic. A lot of time-saving solutions don't really work because of that. Like, who wants to get another boring email from a boring realtor that was written by a boring service? No. So that is, not the last thing I have to say. Well, that's a wise sentence. Your relationships with people you know are the most valuable asset you have. So cultivate them in a good way with your strategy, systems, and social. Well, clicked that pretty fast, didn't I? But that's it, guys. That is 2 hours. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, thank you. Is anybody going to do anything with any of this?
Of course.
Drew, what do you think? Are you like, oh man, that looks like a lot of work?
I've been an IT for a while, and I've got a spreadsheet of contacts that I.
Holy paper.
Y'all are. Are you okay if we send another time? Oh, well, I recorded it, so.
Oh, you recorded it.
Okay, got
Michelle, you record Google Calendar.
Thank you. See you later. Thanks for wearing pants.
it. Which one?
Google Calendar one,
The full leverage one? I don't think so.
You had a whole class on Google Calendar?
I need to,
On management, yeah.
Oh.
midnight, what's that?
Calendar blocking. Yeah.
I'm working on it, so I can hear if I want to learn.
Time blocking just makes me lie to myself.
Right. I tried. Well, it's good. It's kind of like my diet.
Nothing illegal?
Calendar blocking is like my
Other
diet.
than the copyright issues.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm a bad person.
I was like, what share of that does George Lucas get for May the 4th next year?
Yeah, well, we can delete just as fast as we can.